Okay, let's get into this. Imagine opening your email and there's this message describing something online that's just so unsettling, hard to explain. It starts feeling like maybe some weird internet art thing, but then it spirals pretty quickly into something deeply, deeply disturbing. And that's where we start today. We got this tip asking us to look into a website, houseofchai.com. The person who emailed us said it was creepy, maybe linked to illegal stuff. And get this, even just Googling images related to it brings up bad results. No, honestly. My first reaction was a bit of hesitation. You know how it is, digging into these kinds of online claims. This can be tricky, especially when the topic is heavy. But the claims were serious. We felt we kind of had to understand what was really going on there. So yeah, we dove in. And look, before we go any deeper, I need to be really clear with you, our listener. This dig dive, it's about the facts we found. That's it. We're exploring this really strange, unsettling site, trying to figure it out, but we're absolutely not endorsing any of its content. Okay, so yeah, get ready. This is a weird one, a real internet rabbit hole. All right, so you first land on houseofchai.com, and your first thought is probably just, what is this? It honestly looks like a really poorly made webpage. Kind of thrown together, nothing screams danger right away. You see this picture, pretty prominent, of a girl, maybe late teens, early 20s. And below her, the site name spelled out in runes. Then there are links on the side. Things like culture, events, house parties. Seems innocent enough, maybe. Further down, more links. Brand names, celebrities. It's a weird mix. And there's this bright yellow text linking to videos. Videos of the girl from the top picture just singing. They seem totally harmless. So yeah, our first thought was maybe an ARG, an alternate reality game. Or just some celebrity superfans' weird online scrapbook. That's kind of the vibe at first.
And that initial sort of benign impression, that's exactly what makes it kind of insidious, wouldn't you say? From a psychological perspective, that messiness, it isn't really a flaw. It feels almost like it's meant to throw you off. It kind of, lowers your guard, makes the really disturbing stuff that comes later hit even harder because you weren't expecting it.
Right, so you're saying that first impression, the kind of boring look, it's almost part of the setup.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It sets the stage for what comes next, which is much more unsettling.
And unsettling is definitely the word, because once you do scroll down that page, the whole feel just shifts. Big time. All of a sudden, there were 2 rows of pictures labeled swimsuit modeling shots. Okay. But here's where it gets really, really disturbing. These are pictures of children. They look maybe, 8 to 11 years old? Now, it's important. There's no, overt nudity, but a lot of the images are, suggestive. Definitely suggestive. Think about poses you see adult models do in swimsuit ads, but it's literal kids. This is not your standard kids' clothing catalog stuff. Not at all. And the captions, oh boy. One picture, the text says, Chloe's the food, free drinks inside. What? Another one, a blonde child. Sisters of Chai sorority, we just taste better. It's just, wow. And apparently earlier versions of the site, even more disturbing images, captions that were even more suggestive. So yeah, any idea this was harmless just evaporates right there.
It's chilling. It really is. And it makes you ask, okay, even if there's no explicit illegal imagery, what is the intent here? Posing children like this, mirroring adult sexuality, it feels fundamentally exploitative, doesn't it? The suggestion, the context, how it's all framed, it screams danger, regardless of whether it crosses a specific legal line on nudity.
Exactly. It's the whole context that makes it so alarming. And it gets weirder. As you go deeper into the site, you find this really unexpected theme popping up. They start talking about helping orphans. If you search those keywords online, you actually find Indiegogo campaigns, supposedly for an orphan resource trust. And the weird part is, the write-ups for these campaigns, they're actually pretty well written, coherent, which is totally different from the rambling style on the main website. One campaign even names a real school in California, but we couldn't find anything online linking that school officially to House of Chai or these fundraisers. Nothing. And there's more. Other campaigns, like one for a movie called House of Chai's House Parties, the movie. The little avatar for that campaign is a drawing of a young girl, probably preteen, just wearing a bikini bottom, facing away, but still. The description for the movie campaign is back to that scattered language, rambling about costs, synopsis, and it mentions wanting to win horror film awards. So you stop and think, okay, could this just be some really, really edgy project, like dark art? But that explanation just feels wrong. Really uncomfortable given everything else, especially the kid pictures and now this orphan angle.
That discomfort, that's really important. This whole orphan thing, it's not just confusing, it feels like a deliberate psychological move. It's like trying to put a coat of charity or maybe artistic depth onto something that feels really wrong. Maybe to make people hesitate or even to groom people involved somehow. It's a classic manipulation tactic, isn't it? Hiding dark intentions behind something that looks good, or at least, charitable. It really forces you to question the real motives when you see these things mixed together.
So it's not just a weird contradiction, it could actually be a tactic.
Exactly, yeah. It's designed to confuse, to make you second guess condemning it immediately, even when your gut is screaming that something is seriously off.
Yeah, our gut was definitely screaming. At first, we kind of hoped maybe the images were just stolen. Like screen grabs from kids' gymnastics videos paused at horrible moments. Disgusting, but maybe not direct involvement, and maybe some are like that. But the investigation showed that wasn't the whole story, not by a long shot. This is where it gets into active pursuit. We found an old online video, an audition tape for a House of Chai production. The video itself is gone now, but it showed a young girl reading lines, apparently directed. We found online chatter about it. The girl's mother had supposedly posted it, said she was contacted through her daughter's IMDb page, but thankfully, after she learned more about the production, she pulled her daughter out. Smart move. But apparently, another child who also had an IMDb page got the part instead. So this suggests pretty strongly that whoever is behind House of Chai wasn't just grabbing random pictures, they were actively scouting. Actively recruiting young girls using public profiles, like on IMDb.
That active recruitment piece, that really makes the whole art project idea fall apart, doesn't it? Yeah. It shows a level of planning, of engagement, that's way beyond just collecting weird images. What do you think it means that they were using a platform like IMDb specifically?
Well, it adds this fake layer of professionalism, right? It makes it seem legitimate, like a real casting call.
Yeah.
Something that might fool parents or kids hoping to act into thinking it's okay. It hides what's really going on underneath. It shifts it from just having disturbing images to actually doing something actively.
Absolutely. It makes the art project theory very, very hard to believe. It points to something much more calculated and, frankly, much more concerning. Which
brings us, of course, to the big question. Who is this person or people? This name, Dr. Chai Lee, keeps showing up on the websites, the Indiegogo pages. This is supposedly the person who emailed the mother of that auditioning girl we mentioned. And Dr. Chai Lee has this wild backstory he puts out there. Born May 21st, 1964, Chicago. Claims he started studying music, physics, astronomy, martial arts, religion really young. Talks about some startling ordeal at age 13 in church. Says he won't discuss it publicly. Then supposedly moved to Portland at 14, founded something called the Sea Dragon Temple with his masters, started a blended study of universal true life experiences along with hardcore, unbiased research methods. Okay? He even claims he wasn't the first to do this, points to some Tai Chi research center in southern Canada from his childhood. But look, the thing is, Chai Lee. It's obviously a fake name. Any search for Dr. Chai Lee just loops right back to his own websites. That's it. Now, people online have tried to figure out where he might be based on little clues he might have dropped, but seriously, nobody should try to contact this person. That's not the point. The main issue isn't who he is exactly, it's what he might actually be doing.
And why create such an elaborate persona? Almost theatrical, isn't it? This mix of these huge, grand claims, but hiding his real identity? That's a classic pattern, Either for operations trying to hide something serious, or maybe someone who's, deeply delusional. It definitely makes it harder to figure out what this whole thing is really about. It feels less like a hobbyist and more like someone deliberately building a false front.
Like a smokescreen, yeah, to distract from whatever the actual activity is. So if we try to connect all these disturbing pieces, what are the main theories? What is House of Chai? Like we said, first impressions are usually either weird art project, maybe an ARG, or just nonsense rambling. Total gibberish. Some people look at the spiritual talk, the cryptic stuff on the pages, and think it sounds kind of culty, but also just ridiculous. Whoever is behind it, they probably have, at minimum, some serious delusions of grandeur. That seems likely. But the honeypot theory, that it's designed to attract people looking for child exploitation material, that seems less likely, mainly because of the active recruitment stuff, trying to get girls involved, which unfortunately leaves us with a really chilling possibility. The worst case scenario, potential trafficking. That theory gets stronger when you see connections to images that look like they were taken overseas, maybe the Philippines, which, as the source noted, sadly has a huge problem with child exploitation, often targeting kids from poor families. The site itself brags about having ties all over the world, and Dr. Chai Lee is publicly linked or associates himself with people from other countries. That might suggest it's not just one person, maybe a network.
When you pull back and look at everything together, the suggestive pictures, the weird orphan angle, the active recruitment, the global claims, no single simple answer really fits, does it? It paints this deeply disturbing picture.
And honestly, whatever the exact intent is, the fact that this combination exists and it seems focused on children, that alone is a huge, huge concern. It really raises a question for you, the listener. Looking at all this, what stands out to you as the most unsettling piece of this puzzle?
So, where does that leave us? What does it all mean? Even if we don't have, concrete proof of a specific crime right now. The sheer discomfort level here, the pattern, it's undeniable. Suggestive images of kids, these weird orphan fundraising schemes, actively trying to audition girls. This is way more than just some strange website in a forgotten corner of the internet. This is something that, frankly, law enforcement needs to look at seriously. So our advice to you, listening right now, is very direct. If you ever stumble across anything related to this site, anything relevant at all, report it immediately to the FBI. Don't just share it with YouTubers or forums. The real priority here has to be getting this investigated properly, legally, if that's possible.
Yeah, the story of House of Chai is just, it's a really stark reminder, isn't it, of the hidden darkness, the complexities that can hide just beneath the surface online, even in places that might seem harmless or just nonsensical at first glance. It forces us to keep questioning what we see.
Thank you for joining us on this pretty unsettling deep dive today. Stay curious, stay informed, and please always be careful about what you encounter online.